Hi everyone, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Well, I have a really cute and special little project for today. Every now and then I'll get on a kick where I make the same types of projects for days on end, and I'm still on that kick, so hang in there with me. And this particular project for today is a card box, but it can also be used to hold embellishments or anything else that you might want to put in it. And I made it using the envelope punch board, but I took the skeleton box that you make when you make it using the punch board, and I made it sturdier, and then I also embellished it. So I think it turned out very well. And this box will hold A2 size cards, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And if you put cards in it, it will hold approximately 4 mildly embellished cards and 4 envelopes. So let's get started on making this. I will need to use my 1-2-3 punch board for this particular project. And I'll be starting with a piece of decorative paper that measures 9 1/2 by 9 1/2. And the paper that I'm using is from the Till collection by Prima. I absolutely love Prima papers because they're beautiful on both sides, and generally they have some type of foiling, and I don't know if you can see this well, but this paper has beautiful foiling on the teal flowers. It's absolutely to die for. So my paper size measures 9 1/2 by 9 1/2, and I will put it in at the 3 1/2 inch measurement point here. Going to punch, and then I'll score. But the first thing that I want to do before I score is I have an extender arm on here that I want to open. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for me. Now I can place it in and score all the way down without running off of the page. Then I'll slide it over, and I'm sliding it over to my 5 mark here. I'll punch again, and I'll score. Then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees, and I'll put it in again at 3 1/2, punch, and score. Slide it over to 5, punch, and score. And then for my next set of scores, I won't be doing any more punching. So where I've got my score lines here, I'm just going to line them up with the indicator mark here, the pointer, punch, and score. Slide it over to my next line, which is here, lined up here, and I'll punch and score. And then I'll turn it around to the other side and do the same thing. So there is my score mark. And then I'll slide it up because I went to the second one first. And now I can put my punch board away. And I will come back and just burnish all of my fold lines. And we have one more to do. And then we're left with this. So now we need to make just a few cuts. And we need to make cuts on our tab pieces. So the way that I do it, and I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to actually cut your tabs, but wherever my larger folds are, these two that'll fold this way, I always cut my tabs coming in their direction. So, like this. So here's my fold over flap, the largest part. So I'm cutting the tab coming towards that. And I'll do the same thing with the bottom one. I'm not sure that it matters. It's just that this is the way that I started doing it, so it's just the way that I continue to do it. So we've got our tabs, and now we can put our box together. So I am just going to glue up 2 of these tabs. And then I'll just fold the box together at the bottom. And where I'm placing the glue, it will be my bottom. And I'll come back in with my bone folder and just smooth that glue in just a little bit so that it makes great contact with the actual paper, the 2 papers. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll line it up. And then I'll come in on the inside and just work the glue down so that it stays. And then what I'll need to do is go ahead and make my box. Oops, that one wasn't stuck. Get it nice and stuck so that it won't come apart. Okay. So because I'm going to be lining this box, I have this small piece that measures 5 7/8 by 7/8. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it in now because it's easier to do it now than to do it later. So this is the actual bottom. It's just a reinforced bottom to this box. And you can see how it's just laying there at the bottom. And now I can glue the box together. And it won't take much. So I'm going to place some glue here. Come in on this side. And place glue here. And then on the bottom flat piece, I'm going to place glue right in here. I won't come all the way up to the top because this peak actually extends beyond these points. So now I can take my box and just put it together. And I'll probably have to play with it just a little bit to make sure that it's squared. And by playing with it, I'm simply folding over just to make sure that it's square and it's going to sit. And that's pretty good. So now that I've got this part the way that I want it, I'll come back with my bone folder, go on the inside, and just smooth down my glue. Now, at this point, if you want, you can consider your box finished. You've got a nice deep side and you can place many cards on the inside. For me, I am a little bit extra, so I'm going to do a little extra to this. And I want to reinforce my box so that it is very sturdy, very durable. So what I'll be doing is I have some lightweight chipboard pieces and I am going to place those pieces on the inside. And these pieces measure 5 7/8 by 4 3/8. So that's how big this piece is. And what I'll do is I'm going to take it, place it just like this, and then I'll very lightly come back with my ink pen and just give myself a template for cutting. So then I end up with this, and you can see I've got somewhat of a W here. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure that it's not too much left on it, nothing's overhanging, I'm going to cut inside of my tracer marks. And I'm not putting any decorative paper on this piece because you won't see it. And then I'm going to trim off just a little bit here just to make sure that everything stays hidden. Then I can come back, place it in, and if I need to make any additional cuts to it, I can. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit here, a little bit here, here, and here. And now we should be good. Let's see. Yeah, you can't see it. So now I can take my glue and just glue this. And place it in. And I'll come back, flip it over, and use my bone folder to just smooth it out. So there, the front is nice and sturdy, or I should say the back, because this is the actual back. And now I want to take another piece and place it here so that it sits against the back here. So what I have is a piece that measures 5 7/8 by 4 3/8, and then I covered it in decorative paper and I added a little topper. So I'm going to take my glue, place a good amount of glue on here because I don't want this coming up. And then let's place it down. So turn it this way so that I can slide it into place. And there, we've got that part finished. So next, what I want to do is I want to take another piece of chipboard and I want to get a trace of this piece. So what I'll do now is I will take this, going to bring my pen back in and just go around getting my trace. Won't be perfect, but it'll be okay. And then I'm going to take a piece of scrap decorative paper and cover that. So I've got a scrap piece here, and I'm going to place it on the back side. But I want this to be showing, so I'm going to place glue on this, and we will cut out our trace marks. Okay, so I'll put this down like so. Maybe I should have just done it this way. And now I can spread this out. And I'm going to do it the same way that I did it on the other piece. I'm going to come inside of my trace marks and just cut. And then I'm going to cut off just a little bit here, and I'll go back and test it to see how it looks before I do any more cutting. So I'll take this piece and that looks pretty good. So now I'll glue this down. And I'm being very generous with the glue because I want to make sure that this is going to stay in place. Then I'm going to take it and bring it up. And then I can take my bone folder and just smooth that glue down. Come back in and wipe up my excess. And you see I've got just a little bit of overhang here. I'm going to snip that off. And that's how quick it is to take just a plain punchboard envelope box and make it into something very sturdy. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I am going to add 2 magnets. And you don't have to add magnets. You can put Velcro in place of the magnet. It's all up to you. It's just personal preference on how it is that you want to do it. And what I should have done is I should have placed my magnet on this piece before I put the liner down, and I completely forgot about it. But I'm not going to stress over it. I'm just going to place this magnet on the inside, and we'll get this worked out. Yep, that's going to be fine. So I'm going to place some tape on the magnet, bring my top flap down, and let it find that tape, and then I'll pull it up, and there's my magnet in place. And now what I can do is just take a decorative piece of my paper and come back and cover the magnet. It's not the way that I would have preferred to do it, but since I forgot, it is how it is going to be. And that's going to work out fine. So I'm not even going to stress over it. Just going to let it go. So I'm going to glue up my piece to cover my magnet. I'm going to be very generous with that glue there as well because I don't want this paper separating. And then I'll just come in right up here, and I'm just going to work that down until it grabs a hold of the magnet. And then I'll come back with my bone folder and just go around the edges just to make sure that my magnet and my paper are going to stay down. So like I said, you can use Velcro on this. You can use a button closure. You can use the other types of magnetic closures that I use. You can use several ways to make this work. So there, it's closed. And now we're going to put just some final touches of decoration on this. So on this one, I used some really cute rosette ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby, and it comes in a roll, and I'm going to use the same thing on this to make it look just like this one. So the way that I did it is I'm going to lay my ribbon down first, and because I can't really run tape or anything, what I did is I'm taking my glue and I'm just placing some glue dots on the flowers just so that it will stick. And because I'm using the art glitter glue, it's going to dry clear, so I won't have a mess showing. And then I took my glue and I very lightly just went across the top, and it's hit or miss on where it's hitting. I'm not making sure that it's hitting every section. I just need for it to stick and stay down. And then I need to come back and get that up because the glue does seep through. So now that I've got my glue on, I am going to take my ribbon and stretch it so that it's nice and tight when I put it down. And then I'll come back with my paper towel and I'm just going to pat that down. And then I'll do the same thing on the sides. I'm just going to take my glue, put glue on these dots here on the flowers, put a little bit of glue here, enough so that it'll grab when I lay it down, and I am going to pull it and bring it over. And then I'll come back and clean up my mess and use my paper towel just to get this nice and stuck. And then I can come back with my bone folder just to make sure. And then I can do this last one over here. And I'm just holding my hand over the other side so that I can make sure that my glue is nice and stuck. And then for my ending, I'm just running glue along the edges. And I'll pick this up, pull it over, and lay it down. Clean this up. Come in with my bone folder, get that patted down, and then I'm just going to hold it for a moment while this art glitter glue dries, and it is a fast drying glue, so it won't take too long. I just want to make sure that it's nice and stuck. And then I can test my magnet, hope that it still closes. And it does. So now we can come back to the front, and I am going to separate these flowers. So I've got 3 of them. I'm just going to cut them up and separate them. One of them will go on the back. I'm going to take off this excess lace that's on the back of the flower because I don't need it, it's in the way. Guys, I hope you're liking this project. If you are, as always, please hit the like button. And if you are not a subscriber of my channel but just happen to drop by, I would love to have you join us. So also hit the subscribe button. Okay, so I have all of my flowers cut and ready to go. So the first thing that I'm going to do, just like I did with this one, I am going to just lay down some twine, and I'm laying down the twine just because it gives it some interest. And place that right there. Hold it for just a moment. And now I'll come back and I'll place my flowers. So I'll take one flower, glue it, and place it there. Glue my second flower and place it there. Take my third flower and place it right there. And I think that is just very pretty. And I'm going to trim off just a little bit of the twine. Move this one out of the way. So we've got it looking like this right now. And next and finally on the back side, I will take my last ribbon, my last flower, and place it right there on the flap. So either way that you look at this gorgeous box, it's pretty on the front, but if you flip it over, it is just as pretty on the back. So I'm going to take out 4 of these. That's 5. And put 4 in here. And 4 in here. So you can see that it will definitely fit your A2 size cards. And what I'm going to do with these as well is they will be build your own card kits. So inside I will have the cards, the envelopes, and then a pack of embellishments and words and sayings for whomever's going to get these, and they can then make their own cards. But I think these turned out so well. They could even be embellished more, but I'm somewhat of a minimalist when it comes to embellishing, so I think that I'll stop here. But I hope that you guys will give this project a try. As always, have fun with it, make it your own, and we will craft later. Bye.